Good night to you, Scratchy.
Blessed night, neighbor. Going on social media, different platforms. Blessed night, Caroline, Harry.
Scratchy. It would be good for Jamaica if we were united at this time. But Scratchy, the divisions in Jamaica seem to be widening. The political divisions. As a matter of fact, Scratchy, I have never seen it this bad at a time when Jamaica ought to be united. The lines are drawn, Scratchy. How does that make you feel first as a Jamaican?
Good night again, neighbor. I'm definitely, neighbor, not something, neighbor, that we want to see at this time, neighbor, because all of us who are wise and who can see, neighbor, we definitely see that the country definitely needs this right at this moment, you know, based on disaster that we recently coming out of. But the rebuttal to this, neighbor, is not just based on the fact, neighbor, about Jamaica's development and what an impact that it will have on the People's National Party, neighbor, going forward, neighbor, in terms of their future. This bill, neighbor, is seen, neighbor, not just as the Jamaica Labour Party, neighbor, but a lot, neighbor, as a game changer in terms of our infrastructure development, neighbor. And since Jefferson Golden has become the leader of the People's National Party, neighbor, Mark Golden, neighbor, has brought back, neighbor, a type of divisional politics, neighbor, where it is coming from an elitist level. Not just a PNP and Labour right division, neighbor, but a more elitism type of division here across to the politics, neighbor. But our current Prime Minister, neighbor, based on society and description, neighbor, would definitely not fit in that category, neighbor, being an elitist, neighbor. If you look at the persons, neighbor, even in higher society across the length and breadth of Jamaica, who is against the Prime Minister, neighbor, enough of them fit into that level of elitism across the country. Enough of them, neighbor, if they don't fit in it, neighbor, they are key followers or proxies, neighbor, to elitists in the country. So there's a level of elitism going on in Jamaica, neighbor, and it has brought to fruition by Mark Golden. No, look, come back to Nara now and let's see the whole context. Nara, neighbor, is something that I believe, neighbor, the whole idea was conceptualized by the Prime Minister, neighbor. The PNP themselves, neighbor, knows, neighbor, that if Nara should reach all its aim, if Nara should reach its aim, its mission, and its objective, neighbor, it is going to erase, neighbor, every single history across the length and breadth of Jamaica in regards to the PNP, neighbor. It will take away the PNP boasting points, neighbor. They tend to, neighbor, to glorify Manley as the Prime Minister of House, as if Manley is the one who the Prime Minister will have to build a house. Nara will definitely put that aside, that legacy aside, and come for that legacy from Mr. Manley. When you look at Mr. PJ Patterson now, neighbor, PJ Patterson is touted, neighbor, as the person who built out Jamaica public sector, you know? When you look at Nara, neighbor, being the game changer and legislation, neighbor, the different type of legislation that the Jamaica Labour Party has brought forward from 2016 till now, neighbor, that has helped the private sector, neighbor. Case in point, neighbor, the biggest thing, neighbor, the private sector reform.
Yes.
That will definitely wipe out PJ Patterson, neighbor. Portia seems similar now, neighbor. Tout herself, neighbor, to being the Prime Minister that cares and more compassionate about the poor.
Oh.
Yes, she might care more for the poor, neighbor, but no other Prime Minister in Jamaica, neighbor, has lifted more Jamaicans out of poverty, or below the poverty line, or in the poor line, neighbor, as Aunt Jamaica alone is up. So, I don't want to be an impactful bill like that, neighbor, attached to the name, or the conceptualization, or the credit being given to Aunt Jamaica. So, look at now, neighbor, and who pilot the bill.
Yes.
The bill was pilot, neighbor, why? A young minister, neighbor.
Yes, Nestor Morgan.
Nestor Morgan.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
And young man, neighbor, I can tell you, neighbor, that the elitists in our society, neighbor, not pleased, neighbor. I wouldn't want to see.
And it appears as if Morgan will play a major role in the execution of this bill as the minister without portfolio in the Prime Minister's office.
I think Morgan is a dark horse that we have not given any credit in regards to this thing, neighbor. The mere fact, neighbor, that Morgan is a minister, neighbor, a young minister, neighbor.
Black man.
Not a minister who have a lot on this belt. A young, very young neighbor, just coming to Parliament, maybe second term or so. But when I look at a Morgan, neighbor, piloting this bill, neighbor, the elitists in Jamaica, neighbor, don't want to see Marlon name fixed to that bill, neighbor, as a pilot, because, neighbor, when if Nara should meet its objective, neighbor.
My God.
Nestor Morgan name, neighbor, will be etched, neighbor, in whatever history Jamaica.
Is what you're saying to me, sir?
in terms of the infrastructure and the development of Jamaica.
It's so deep, you look at it, Scratchy.
Neighbor, the elite is across the length and Jamaica. They have a problem with Nara, neighbor. They have a problem with who is orchestrating Nara, who is piloting Nara, neighbor. That is where the rebuttal. Look at the people
My God.
fighting against Nara. I did, neighbor, who don't look, a lot of them look like Mark Golin. A lot of them share the ethnic group of Mark Golin. And if they don't share it, neighbor, their followers who carry that same ethnic group. Neighbor, this bill is so deep, neighbor. I'm telling you, Nara, neighbor, is a bill, neighbor.
Hold on, Mr. Scratchy. Hold on, sir. Hold on. You're saying to me that we have, because I have missed that. I did note that Nestor Morgan is piloting the bill. That Nestor was consulting with the drafters. Nestor Morgan is the minister without portfolio in charge of roads. So the reconstruction will fall partly at his decks. He's almost like the second man to the prime minister where this bill is concerned.
Second man to the prime minister.
And you are saying to me that may be part of the problem.
That is a major part of the problem, neighbor. Major part of the problem. Neighbor, if Nara should reach its full aim and potential, neighbor, Nestor Morgan, neighbor, is going to go down in the history, neighbor, as one who pilot that bill. Here, neighbor, is a look a young politician, neighbor. Just look at how neighbor, I don't talk about the prime minister, we're not taking from the prime minister. But neighbor, just look at how Nestor Morgan, neighbor, in the parliament when the bill was being debated, neighbor. Oh, we read out the clauses, neighbor. You can know that this was not something that this man was talking about, seeing for the first time. You could know, neighbor, that when you hear Nestor Morgan talk about Nara, neighbor, you could know, I don't know this for a fact, but you could tell that he was a part of the creation of this bill, neighbor. He was in the room with the drafters, neighbor. Neighbor, Nestor Morgan understand this bill inside out, neighbor. Even if it was given to him, neighbor, he did a wonderful job in studying it, neighbor. And I know, as a cabinet minister, I believe he has that power and he has that authority to be a part of the drafting, neighbor. And I would have surprised, neighbor, if he played in a deeper role in this bill, neighbor, in crafting even some of the class and stuff like that. Because based on what I'm seeing, neighbor, and the trust and the belief that the Prime Minister put in Nestor Morgan to pilot this bill, neighbor, he tell you, neighbor, that Nestor Morgan, neighbor, is someone that we should look at differently going forward. If Naira should reach its objective, neighbor, Nestor Morgan name will be edged across, will be called across Jamaica, neighbor, for the rest of Jamaica, neighbor, in regard to the changes in our society, the change in our living condition, neighbor, and the recrafting and the shaping of Jamaica from an infrastructure level. Watch that bill, neighbor. Nestor and the Prime Minister, neighbor, a lot of elitists, neighbor, don't want that history, neighbor, to be attached to the both of them.
I have something else to ask you. I'm a little concerned, Scratchy, that the bill, the passing, the reconstruction will be marred in politics. Scratchy, that's unfortunate, is it not?
Neighbor, definitely, neighbor, based on the rhetoric coming from the opposition, neighbor, you can see that they are trying to put that, neighbor, but neighbor, it takes two to tango, neighbor, and if you look from the government benches, if you look from the government side, neighbor, the Prime Minister, neighbor, or other government minister, neighbor, as crafted whatever statement they have made, neighbor, in a way, neighbor, to try to keep away the politics, neighbor, from it as best as possible. Because as I said before, neighbor, PNP can do what they want to do, neighbor, but the Prime Minister is not going to engage, neighbor, in that tit for tat. The Prime Minister knows, and the Jamaica Labour Party members know, neighbor, the government members know how important this bill is, neighbor, and they know what the PNP is trying. The PNP is trying to beat them, neighbor, into say something and try to craft it away, neighbor, as if this bill it's all about politics, neighbor. So the Prime Minister, neighbor, this man, neighbor, I know how to not get the drag in the mud, neighbor, like the PNP, neighbor, and I think, neighbor, we will definitely go through, neighbor, with this one, neighbor, because it takes two to tango, as I said before, neighbor, and the Prime Minister is so skilled, neighbor, in his whenever he stand up and speak, neighbor, and he's not going to get pushed into that, neighbor, because he knows how important this bill is, neighbor. But opposition, neighbor, Mark Jefferson Golden, is trying to push that narrative, neighbor, against his supporters, neighbor. But, neighbor, I can say, neighbor, that one thing I know Jamaicans will do, I know I'm not even Jamaicans, neighbor, as a human being. I know, neighbor, it is hard to accept change. But sometimes it's a type of change, neighbor. Any change that has to do with with the improvement of your living condition, neighbor, any changes that have to do with neighbor, the advancement of your country, neighbor. I honestly know how you can reject those changes, neighbor. So I expect neighbor majority of Jamaicans, neighbor, to follow suit and support this bill, neighbor. This is one of the reasons why, neighbor, even when the contention was going on with this bill, neighbor, I tell you before, neighbor, where the parliament sits, neighbor, is right in the heart of this Mackenzie constituency. Right near the parliament is a Jamaica Labour Party supported lane, neighbor. And around in the city, neighbor. It was very easy. It was a rocket science or anything hard, neighbor, for Tuesday when that bill was debated, neighbor, to run the parliament, neighbor, with a 1,000 or 2,000 Jamaica Labour Party supporters down there. The Prime Minister himself, neighbor, didn't want that, neighbor, because as a governing party, that we don't want to be joining the tit for tat, neighbor, with the opposition and trying to create a narrative as if this bill, neighbor, is a politics thing, this is a governance thing. And the supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party never needed a warranty than that here.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you, Jamaica Princess. Thank you for all the roses. Thank you for all the gifts you are sending to the program. That's brilliant coming from you, Scratchy. 26 minutes after 9 o'clock. Please remember to support the Politics Plus Network with your gifts and with your contributions